Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of the year 2022, which is actually the 79th episode of the Mind and Muse Crochet podcast. Let me just start out by saying that in lieu of all of the things that are happening in the world right now, I prefer to just try and be a little bit of light, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of carefree time in your everyday life that I know, as much as mine, is filled with chaos. And not only the chaos in your day-to-day life, but the chaos in the world outside. So I'm not going to bring any of the current topics, I'm not going to bring a conversation on any of the current events that are occurring around the world, because all of it is just heartbreaking. And as I have said in the past, I prefer this short time that we share together to be a break in your chaotic life, in your chaotic day, a break in your busy week, a break in all of the other challenges that you have had during the week, and just sit and chat with you as a friend. So it's not that I ignore all of the shocking things that are happening in the world right now. It's just that I am making a personal commitment with this channel and with the people that come to this channel. And so I'm going to just beam a little ray of sunshine into your day by not talking about those things. Welcome to this episode. And let me start by just restating that I am back in my home in Puerto Rico. And if you've missed previous episodes, you might not be aware that I have been traveling on and off every month to the U.S. to help out with my grandson, who was born very premature back in August. And although he is progressing satisfactorily, well, the parents still needed a bit of help there, taking care of him on a day-to-day basis. And I want to be grandma, so I have been going and coming as of late to Alabama to try and help out with that. So some of the previous episodes were recorded in different places outside of my home. And speaking of that, let me just give you a short update on why I missed an episode back in May. I'm usually trying to get these episodes out every 15th and every 30th or 14th and 28th, something like that, of the months. And I haven't really been able to get on with that schedule and roll with it because of the fact that I've been traveling. So last month, at the time where I was supposed to do my 8th episode, I was down in Alabama and we were in a new house and the lighting was not good. Previously, as when we were in New Hampshire, that I was going and coming with my son, I was still able to podcast because the baby was still delicate. And so he was having very frequent doctor's appointment, which meant that my son and his wife and the baby were all out of the house for several hours at a time, several times during the month. And so I was able to get some alone time where I could, fit in the time and the silence needed to make a podcast. That was not possible. While we were in Alabama, the baby is growing. He needs more attention. He requests more time around people. And the lighting in this new house is very poor lighting. I hadn't taken any of my equipment with me. So just, it didn't happen. Then I decided to leave it for when I was going from Alabama to visit my daughter Clarisabeth in Florida on the way back home. But I arrived at Florida and became ill. And it wasn't COVID, but it was a very bad allergy. And when I get allergies because I suffer from asthma, well, it quickly travels to my chest and I get very ill. So I got ill. And I was there for 3 or 4 days and I wasn't feeling well. I was able to do some admin stuff on my channel, but I wasn't able to crochet much. And definitely I wasn't able to record. So when I came back to Puerto Rico, my husband was ill and he gave us quite a scare with a trip to the emergency room and a couple of days in the hospital. So life got too complicated, guys, and I just had to put it off. But here I am, close, hopefully uploading this on the 30th of May so that you can share with me a little bit about what I have been able to get done in the crafty side of my life. So normally I start with a section that I call Walking the Talk. And this is that section. Welcome to Walking the Talk. And I'll share with you a couple of things that you can see. One of them is I wish I had made it, and the other is actually something I had made. So here I've got the pair of earrings, and these earrings were from the teardrop pattern that I uploaded to, my blog a while back. And what happened was that while I was in Alabama, I spent Mother's Day, U.S. Mother's Day in Alabama. So my daughter-in-law requested that I make her a pair of these teardrop earrings in the emerald, the emerald color. So I had some emerald left from my tapestry. And these were the earrings that she requested. Now, I ended up making 2 pairs of them because I kept looking at them and I kept finding that one of the earrings was slightly smaller than the other, and I was trying to adjust my tension, but I just couldn't get it to work. So I ended up making like 5 or 6 of them in order to pick which 2 look mostly the same. But doing all that took me to tweak with the pattern, the original pattern, to make it more into a teardropped shape once the beads had been added. So the original one worked, but once you added beads, kind of got distorted. I can't for the life of me explain why. The first pair that I made, which were my silver teardrops that I love to death, it didn't happen, but every pair that I made thereafter, it did happen. So I went back, looked over the instructions, and tweaked them so that I got a better, what I consider a better teardrop shape. And so these I made a thread that I purchased in my first visit to Hobby Lobby. My daughter-in-law took me there, and I had never gone. And I know there were a lot of issues with the store and a lot of debates. Well, there are a lot of opinions from different people as to whether or not we should support that chain of stores, of hobby stores, but I had never gone, so I went, and I didn't. The crafting section, the section specifically for knitting and crochet, did not impress me at all, but I did see this yarn there, which is a variegated 100% cotton. I believe it's called Artiste. Oh, it's going to drive me crazy. I believe it's called Artiste or something like that, so yes, I purchased it. Actually, because I thought it was going to be more variegated than it actually turned out to be. You can see from the earrings that the color changes are a bit long, and so I'm not getting the representation of all the colors in my earring. But I like the way it worked out. So totally happy with that pattern now, because it is exactly what I had imagined, and I foresee many, many earrings, teardrop earrings in different colors in my future. So the second item that you are seeing that is a wannabe, is something that I wish I had made, it's not me made, is this granny square vest. I don't know if I have a picture of the vest, of me in this vest. I don't know. So I'll show it to you. The idea is that this was a make that I saw in the store Lucky Brand while I was down visiting a mall in Alabama. And so I looked at it, went in a couple of times, and probably that day I didn't pick it up. But then a couple of days later, actually I think it was about the day before I was ready to come back, my son took me back to the mall. Well, we went on a trip in the car, and he said, Mom, I'm going to take you back to that store so you can pick up that vest that you wanted. And so it was a gift from my son, but I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy that I didn't have to make the vest, and I can love it. I don't know if that's good or that's bad, but I figure it's just as fast fashion to make a granny square vest and leave it hanging in your closet and never use it as it is to purchase one. Because I mean, I know all the issues and all the debates and discussion around the issues of purchasing fast fashion or making it yourself. I try not to get my panties all knotted about things that are not as transcendental, are not that fundamental to my day-to-day life. Anyway, at any rate, it was gifted to me, so I now have it, and I believe that I'm going to have it for a long time because it's got a lot of elements that I like. It is actually crochet, so somebody had to make these granny squares and join them. And then it is put to a machine, and the rest of it is knit. So, I mean, it's got all of the things that I love in a garment. It combines knit with crochet. It's got the granny squares. It's got colors, and I didn't have to hide the ends in or anything like that. So I'm totally happy with this, and I will continue to wear it. Yes. So I'm happy with it, and I'm very happy to share it with you on this channel. Okay, and I don't think that I necessarily go in the same order every time I do this, so I'm just going to press on with what I have in my notes. In terms of the invisible aspects of carrying on with a channel like this, I was ill, like I told you, in Florida, but I was able to catch up or complete some tasks or goals that I had for my blog and my channel during those days that I wasn't able to do anything else. One of the things that I did was I noticed, as I have watched and recorded previous episodes, that I have problems keeping account of the episodes that I'm working on. And so sometimes I get it wrong, sometimes I say it wrong, sometimes my tongue gets tied while I'm saying it, and I just decided to keep my life simple. Remember that my goal for this year is to embrace change, and so in that embracing change, one of the things that I want to do is make my life easier. Sometimes you just have to make your life easier in order to embrace change. So I went back through my entire list of episodes and I renumbered everything, just 1 to episode 79, which is the episode that I'm recording right now. So if you do that type of thing, if you like reruns and all that, or if you actually want to look up something that I've talked about in the past, you might see that there's a change in the titles. They have all been numbered from 1 up to the current one, which is 79. It doesn't mean that I won't tell you that this is the 8th episode of 2022, but it just means that I'm going to keep a count, because sometimes keeping the count allows you to celebrate important moments, like when I reached episode 50, which I didn't realize, when I reached episode 75, which is now gone and beyond, and when I will reach episode 100, which is usually a number that there is some type of celebration around that number for some reason. So I just wanted to be able to keep that count, that continuous count, so that I would know, feel the progress, feel that I am getting somewhere with all of this. And so I just did it. I went back and I changed all of that. So that's an administrative change on this channel that you might or might not have realized. In addition to that, I guess that could be considered a finished item because I did finish that. So I'll also talk about one finished item that has to do with the granny square top that I am wearing, because once I saw this and I was able to get my hands on it, then I realized that, well, I had taken with me, and I had still a lot of the scraps that were left over from the tapestry that I was working on. And why wouldn't it be a good idea to convert those scraps into granny squares? And of course, that is a great idea. And then once I made the granny squares, I was like, but what am I going to use them for? Do I want to make myself a vest? Yes, I wanted to, but I don't know if that number 3 mercerized cotton is the best choice. So what I did was, I had a pair of jeans that my daughter-in-law passed on to me because she used them during her pregnancy and could no longer fit in them. So I don't know if that says anything good or bad about me, but anyway, didn't fit her, did fit me, and they were good jeans, didn't want to throw them away. But they were these distressed or destroyed jeans that are now in fashion, and it's not something that I like to wear. I remember when we were younger, and even maybe when my children were growing up, that holes in your clothes was not a good thing to have. You didn't go to school like that. You didn't go out like that. You didn't want people to see you like that. But now that is not the way it is. But I can't change the way that I was raised or what I was raised to think in the past. So no, I don't want holes in my jeans. And so I took the granny squares and I joined them together. And I think if you follow me on Instagram, I might have published. And so I used some techniques from the course in Freeform Crochet that I have been talking to you and sharing with you. And I made what is called in Freeform Crochet a scrumble, or various scrumbles, by joining different shapes and put it on top of that distressed area or destroyed area of these jeans. And I did there. Obviously, there's going to be a hole on the other side also. It was higher up. The first one was closer to the knees. This one was higher on the thigh. And so I just covered up there with some granny squares. And then there was another one here at the back. Another hole at the back that I decided to use the last granny square that I had already worked up to cover up. And so those are my jeans. And I'll insert a picture here of me wearing them. I did wear them. We went out to strawberry picking on the day after I had fixed these jeans. And so I wore them there. And I also wore them, I think on the trip home, both to Florida and then maybe even home. I was going to, get some use out of all the work that I put into them. And I received several compliments. Several people stopped me in the places that we went to, stores, at the airport, to say, I really like your jeans. Your jeans are really cool. That looks really nice. And so even when I got back to Puerto Rico, there was still one employee of the airport who stopped me to say that she really liked my jeans. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy that I was able to salvage a pair of jeans that fit me very well. And this is the type of soft fabric. So it's got a little bit of elastic in it, but not So it's not 100% cotton, but they're very comfortable. They fit me very well, and I will have years of usage out of them, I am sure. So that is one hack. Well, I didn't make the jeans. I did see in days past, I think I shared it with Clarisabeth on Instagram, somebody had taken a pair of jeans like this and had totally covered it in granny squares. And I'll share that up here if I find it again, because I don't know if I would go that far, but it was interesting to see. So, as some of the people told me, that was cool. And speaking of my earrings again, speaking of these earrings, I already told you that the pattern was updated, and it used to be, or it still is, the original pattern is still in a post that I made, but the updated pattern I put in a PDF on the page of my blog entitled, Free Patterns. So you can go there and see the original one still works, but I just think this one looks better. Also on that page, I included a pattern for my spiralized triangle earrings. The original one was made in this taupe color, and then I made a second one while I was in Alabama in this white color. And so that pattern is also on my blog. And I don't know how many of you have been watching as of late the Crochet Cakes podcast. And Clarisabeth of the Crochet Cakes podcast and Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast get together every year and host the Summer of Romance MAL. I believe it's a MAL because you can use any type of craft to create. And it doesn't have to be a garment, but some type of project that is related to the theme. The thing was that they have been recording vlogs together where they talk about why and how the idea came about, where have been their participation, what they have experienced through the participation of others in this MAL. And they have a second one where they talk about this year's theme, this year's topic, what they have chosen, etc. And at some point during that episode, Claudia interrupts the normal conversation to say if Clarisabeth could talk a little bit about the earrings she was wearing. So the earrings that Clarisabeth was wearing were mushroom earrings that I had made for her when I went down in May for my monthly visit. And so, or bi-monthly visit maybe. And so Claudia asked her if that was a pattern on my blog, and that went ding. And I said, oh my goodness, I never wrote up the pattern, but I remembered that I had taken a picture of the instructions so that I could decipher, which is what I would need to do whenever I write down notes for a pattern, so I could decipher them into a pattern. So I got on with it, and although I haven't completed the earring yet, the pattern is almost up on my blog because I just need to upload it. But I am waiting to complete the earring because it's made. I made it several times to make sure that my instructions were working out and to make sure that I liked what I was seeing. So I made several versions of the mushroom. And they incorporate the bullion stitch, which was a new stitch that I learned while I was working with my Freeform crochet projects. And they include some beads to represent the mushroom spots, although at one point I also did make a version where I embroidered the spots instead of, so you can use beads if you want to, but you don't have to. You could also embroider the spots. Those are French knots. by hand. And so these are just missing to be stiffened, in which I normally just add glue to the back with a paintbrush and let them dry overnight. And then, well, hide in the ends, weave in the ends, and then stiffen them and add an earring wire. And those will be the mushroom earrings that will be on my blog. Probably in the next couple of days. So I'm happy to have completed that, because those earrings particularly made me very happy. So specifically because Clarisabeth likes mushrooms, and she didn't know that I was taking those earrings to her, although I probably shared them with her because I can't keep a secret to myself. But maybe she didn't know they were for her. I don't know. But they did make her happy. She does use them frequently, and hopefully you will be able to make them following my instructions, and also they will make you or somebody that you love very happy. So go check that one out. In a couple of days, my spiralized earrings are there. The teardrop earrings are there. My granny square earrings are there. And in a couple of days, I'll have up these mushroom motif earrings also for your pleasure. So very happy with that. And so speaking of freeform crochet, I did want to share with you, in addition to the scrumble that I made for covering up the holes in my pants, I did want to share with you some work from other members of the course that I am taking. There is a WhatsApp group that opens for 3 months once you register in the course, and it is an international group. So you chat and share with other members of the course that are from France or from Spain or from the Netherlands or USA. I don't know. There are people from all over the world. And so this past weekend, one of the members shared her version of Matterhorn, which is a portion of the Alps that is bordering Switzerland and Italy. And I asked her if I could share her work with this community here on YouTube, and she said yes. So I wanted to share with you her work because I thought it was a prime example of what you can do once you take this course, and it is a prime example of creativity. I love the way she used the spiral scrumbles to create the background of the mountain, sort of like the sky. And I just thought it was a very good example of what you can do with freeform crochet. She began with a sketch of the mountain that she wanted to recreate, and then she subdivided that mountain into different shapes, and then she created scrumbles for each of the shapes, and finally outside of the mountain, obviously joined them, because part of the freeform crochet is your ability to create scrumbles or the pieces of fabric, and then join them together to make a flat piece of fabric. And so that is challenging sometimes, and you have to fill in gaps with smaller stitches. And so I think she did a very good job, and I'm very glad that she allowed me to share with you her version of the Matterhorn. Looking at her version, I kind of got the idea that the mushroom house that I made for Clarisabeth, I could actually complete it by creating scrumbles of different shades of green in the background to represent the mushroom house, the fairy house, being inside the forest. And so, yeah, I thought that was a possibility. If she doesn't find the appropriate fabric, that is another possibility. So freeform crochet is full of possibilities. I'm very happy with the course that I took. And so if you want to give it a try, remember it's the Freeform Crochet Techniques course by Jose Dammers. You can find her on Instagram, or you can write to her and find out all the details of her course. She has 2 courses right now, one with just general techniques and one with techniques for creating a portrait, which is still what I would like to be able to do in the near future. So although that was not my make, I did want to share that with you because to give you more ideas of what things can be done with freeform crochet. So I guess that's my section of end of the line. And so I'm going to move on to the final section for this week, which is pressing on. And so pressing on with this podcast, I have also been pressing on with a new make, which is right here. This is my version of the Maia Socks. And so it is now on her blog. I did tech edit these socks and now I am testing them, but she has already uploaded the socks to her blog. They are in both Spanish and English in case you are a Spanish language speaker and would want to give a try at that. And so she had a beautiful tonal. This is in Knit Picks Hawthorne, but I could not find a tonal on the Amazon site where I was purchasing this because I knew it would get to me the fastest while I was in Alabama. So I think she has got the idea for a project in which she's going to try and make these socks above the knee. And that, I believe, if you watch the latest vlog that I mentioned between her and Claudia of Crochet Luna, she mentions that that is possibly her project for the Summer of Romance. Mao. And so, yep, this is my sock. It is pressing on because it is not yet complete. I am missing the other sock. So you see it's got that firm base, firm foot and sole, and it's got a short row heel. And although there is no gusset, the extra width that she has added to the foot of the pattern, sort of like that positive ease that she has added, works out because at the beginning you may find it too big for your foot, but do not worry. Don't rip it back, don't frog it and start a smaller size. Leave the positive ease because you'll need it when you reach this part of the sock. You're going to stretch the sock to put it over your heel, and that extra fabric that you have at the top creates a very fit sock in the long run. So, yep. I think they're absolutely cute. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I think if they were made knee-high or maybe even thigh-high, they would be excellent socks. Any of you up to that? Any of you up to making a thigh-high lacy sock that you can put a, are they called garter? Or whatever those suspenders for your thighs are called, and then wear them around the block? I would definitely do it. If I did not live in Puerto Rico, I would definitely do it because I think they would make gorgeous thigh highs. So that's my version of the Maia sock. The second sock is currently living in this bag, which is gifted to me by Vivian of Pearl and Plum on a visit in a meetup that we had in New Hampshire when my son was living there. And she likes to always make her bags zipper free. So her bags always have the ribbon at the top to scrunch it. And here I got it. This is my avoid second sock syndrome by making two toes at the beginning. But then I don't have the strength. I want to see a finished project. So I can't work 10 rows on that, and 10 rows on this, 10 rows on that, and 10 rows on this. So I can't. So I neutralize the second sock syndrome by having the toe. If it don't, the toe can be a pretty slow part of any sock because in crochet, it's usually worked up in single crochet, and that can be slow. So that's there. I just got to pick it up and finish the rest of it. I did make this sock. I will tell you that I did make this sock in one day. But, you know, like working for a long time. I believe I started like at midday and worked probably up to midnight. But, you know, in intervals, not straight through. But, and so what I wanted to say with that is pretty quick. Especially when you get to the lacy part, it's a pretty quick make. So I'll have this up on Ravelry hopefully by the next time with all my notes on the adjustments that I made to the sock so it would fit my particular foot. And I'll share that with you in the near future. So this is me for today. A little bit longer than what I would have liked maybe. But I had obviously a lot to say because we hadn't seen each other for a while. So this episode has come to an end. And very happy to have shared with you again, and hopefully I'll be able to be back here on the 15th of June, or a little bit before. I can record before and upload it on the 15th, because it'll be close to the time again when I will be returning to my job in the US. So in the meantime, please take care of yourselves, keep yourself safe, keep yourself healthy, and keep crafting. Bye for now.